Hey, this is Max Alper, aka Parrotsky, and you are listening to Group Critique Fight Club. Oh yeah. That is Molasses. Ring of Fire, the homie Molasses of Molasses Industries, the bespoke esoteric synthesizer inventor out in Richmond, Virginia, but Molasses is his music alias as well, and Ring of Fire is his collection of deconstructed, Henry Flint inspired in some ways, but unique takes on old time music, bluegrass, things of that nature. Great fucking record, Ring of Fire by Molasses. Check them out. Hope everybody is doing well. It is Group Critique Fight Club Mondays. Monday edition. Monday. Hope everyone is chilling, having a great start to their week. What do we got? We got a week to go before we have Raven Chacon on next Monday for our monthly project presentations. So I would say at this point it's a little late, and the queue is quite large as far as the amount of people participating. So please, if you said you're participating, stay in touch with your buddy. It's a buddy system. Score partners for this project. So make sure you hold each other to account. Stay in contact with each other, because I can't stay on top of all of you. And get it in with all the necessary materials before next Monday. Because then we get right to it with Raven exactly a week from today, and it will be a doozy, and I'm very excited to chat with him and for him to hear your work. It's going to be a good time, but don't leave your partner hanging is all I'm saying. If they do the work, but you slacking, don't slack. Okie doke. Sounds good. And besides that, we have our sample packing a social practice workshop having its... We moved the lecture portion that was supposed to happen last weekend. We had three out of the 5 people signed up weren't able to make it that day. So we just decided to put everything on next Saturday, the 28th, out in Brooklyn. You can sign up for that. I'll put link in the show notes. You've seen me post about it a million times, but if you are in the New York City tri-state area and want to get in on a fun little workshop about building a sample pack as a crew of folks, and then being able to sculpt our own works out of the same pack together, and learn a bit about the term social practice. Please sign up for the workshop. There's still room for that. It should be a lot of fun. And if any of y'all tuning in right now are seriously considering it, but are strapped for cash, please let me know, and we can set you up with potentially a discount. Our Tape Trade sponsored scholarships have been claimed. And once again, Tape Trade coming through with their support for unique programming such as this, with our digital dub plate mindset, Tape Trade once again providing us some infrastructure and some support for our Monday night group critique fight clubs. Sign up for Tape Trade for, worker-owned playback and playlisting services for the working musician in need of a good in-browser and in-app means of sharing files. We all need to do it. We got to be passing stems and demos back and forth to each other. Might as well use a platform that doesn't steal your data and is worker-owned and isn't, evil. How about that? So shout-outs to Tape Trade. TapeTrade.io. www.tapetrade.io. Check them. Thank you, everybody over there. All right. We got your music coming in hot today. Just making sure that I got everything. All right, we got one more coming from our homie PV. Let me get that track added to our playlist here. Hell yeah. Who do we have up first this week? We got Jesse back with a new edition of their track that, if we were to go through our February big old playlist here, we'd see how many versions of it. At least one. Okay, so we got 2 versions of it in here. Very cool. Jesse has brought to us a new edition of his track Alpha Boom that he's been working on this month. And he has written, here's the latest draft of the track that I sent last month. It's basically the same, except I added hats for the one last drum element, to quote Max on last Monday's stream. Do note, when the hats get teased in the first half, I plan on redoing it with a manual fader writing. In this draft, I just applied envelopes to the sound files. Okay, cool. So, planning on doing some levels on your own by hand. Compositionally, I consider this done. What I'm looking for now would be mix advice. I'd like the overall murky character, but I'm worried it's too bottom heavy. Lately, I've been applying exciters to the master track to brighten everything, but in this case, it sounded off. Okay, cool. You know me, I love exciters. But let's take a listen and think about it mix-wise. What we can do here. Let's go. Alpha Boom Draft 3. There we go. With each draft, this becomes more evil, and in a good way. You know, the Merc is important on this, but the halftime and the inclusion of the hi hat here. I mean, like, just also like doing it on offbeats. It adds. I don't know if you're intending for it to be reminiscent of some of like the darker UK dubstep, like early dubstep sort of sound on this, like Space Ape, even, or even like, you know, like the adjacents of Burial on early hyperdub stuff. But this is just because of the halftime and the usage of off note hi-hats, you know, like this is bringing in the groove. We do evil and wet here at Group Critique Fight Club. Exactly. Evil music and wet music, and sometimes evil wet music. No, this is bringing me to some weird basements in South London, unintentionally, you know, like as you've developed your drums, as you've developed your rhythm section here, we've fallen in to some of this murky dub, which I really enjoy. And I can almost imagine some like pitch shifted, chopped and screwed downwards toasting, like South London Jamaican rapping over this would fit right in. So compositionally, I agree. I think you've created the world here, and it's groovy and it's evil and it's bottom heavy, and I don't think that's to a fault. I think, going off of what Breathplay said in the chat, it's a bit wet. It needs to be reined in from the reverb. You know, I think that there's a lot of low end being reverberated, and it's compounded, and it's pretty high in the mix. You know, I think this should be evil and dry music. I think this should be really crispy. I think that this should be like pushing air through a speaker, and maybe the reverb doesn't sound digital, but more like convolution, like a space in which everything is being summed into one, at a much quieter, much more subtle sort of amount in the mix. And going off of what Breathplay said further about using a cutoff, a high pass filter, or at least just cutting the low cut on the reverb itself, because all that low end is being reverberated right now, and it's kind of creating this sustained low end that could be just brought in that much more if we get rid of the low end reverb entirely and then bring that decay down quite a bit, and bring it down in the mix itself. Like, I think this should be I think this should be face up to a speaker, pushing air, good use of saturation on the master. Of exciter on the master. Use exciter and saturator on all your channels. You know, make this harmonically as rich and poignant as you want. I think that will double down the presence and the dryness up close. You know what I mean? Without necessarily overdoing it in the low end. I think the low end is good where it's at. This is bass music, as they say. You know, like the genre is bass music. So I think that's totally fine. You know, it's more just thinking about like not overdoing it in the low end. Oh, I forgot we got Rotap's track from yesterday too. I gotta put that in. Mabi. Don't look at this green while I download something. But yeah, I think that would just be like, that would solve your problem if you feel like it's a little too murky in the low end. Otherwise, I mean, how do we increase presence through like boosting harmonics? And you're already doing it with an exciter on the master, but I mean, like, we can get dirtier in the low end. You know, it doesn't need to be loud. We can make it saturated. We can make it dirty without necessarily overdoing it in the mix. And think about, like, again, your mix process, you want to leave headroom on your channels. You know, you want to leave headroom on your channel so that you can use the master bus, or if you're doing a separate mastering project of your work here, to fill that headroom, to fill in that gap creatively. You know, this is the type of thing that, like, the distinction of mixing versus mastering. Mixing, you should be all green. You know, you could dirty up and saturate your signal, like the tone and timbre of your channels, but it shouldn't be loud. You know, let the loudness happen. Let the boosting of everything happen as a lump sum in the master. That's the art of mastering. You know, it's hard, but it's worth you know, exploring. It's definitely a an art form in and of itself. If we were to describe what mastering is, like, it's creatively fighting the war on loudness. You know, it's not just brick walling. There's more to it than that. You wrote, actually, I hadn't used an exciter on the master of this track. Maybe misspoke earlier. It fell off at the time, so I skipped it. Oh, okay. Well, get using them. Yeah, I would try them out. You know, Breathplay. I really love using Ableton's utility device lately. You could set the bass to mono. Yeah, that's a unique plugin. I've seen people do that, of basically calling it like a mono drive, where you just, like, double left and right into one, and now you basically have twice the twice the signal. So it creates this unique saturation, in that case a digital one, but there used to be some rack mount reverbs and things like that that would do that sort of summing mono mode, and it creates a different coloration to the drive, to the saturation. Yeah, so there's a lot of playing that you could do with that, but I would dry it out first before exploring these things. Like, I think that if you're feeling like it's too bottom heavy, I think drying it out is going to help that. And then from there, start to creatively saturate and excite to create more presence and harmonic content with each of these things, you know? All right. Thank you, Jesse. Good stuff. All right. We got Rotap submitted yesterday, but playing today on the public stream, stepping up to the plate. They write, would love some feedback on the attempt at an unorthodox ending. You know the challenge of writing endings. It's the biggest problem people have. Let's see what you got. Looking.wave. Oh yeah, you tease. There were like 3 endings to this. This is what I'm talking about. This is some creative ending right here. Don't never let them know your next move. You know, never let them know your next move. Give us 2 half verses at the end with full measure long pauses, full decay, down to nothing. Bah, bring it back in one more time for another 8 clicks. Very clever. I know that's what you're going for with an ending of that. I think it works really well. It's inherently experimental music. I know you're making pop here, but we gotta view this compositionally from like the macro view. Zoom out. What is the form to the composition itself? Like, you know, song structure, verse, chorus, whatever. If we were to analyze this, it would be an odd shape. You know, it would not be a standard shape to the form itself. And so it is inherently an experimental composition. You're trying out this odd, off-kiltered sort of like Lego Lego experiment, DIY Lego architecture that you're creating here. So kudos to you for some risk like that. I think we can all, as especially songwriters, singer-songwriters, working within the realms of what we want to call art song or whatever the fuck, you know, to think about, and this goes for everybody writing music, is like the idea of like what makes something experimental. Obviously, we can get into the nitty-gritty of the note-by-note, play-by-play, what it is that my music is doing this measure versus the next measure. But we should always maintain a perspective, zoom out a little bit, and think about the form, you know? Love Me, my Morton Feldman, driving home in his writing the importance of form, like what makes a composition structure the way it is. And sometimes it's not even needing to zoom in all the way. Just trust the shape of the piece, you know? But I think that like in singer-songwriter music and pop and things like that, it's like, this is how you progress the conversation, not stay stagnant, you know, is to be mindful of both the inner workings, the micro view, but also the macro view of your composition here, when working with, you know, chord progressions and melodies and earworms and things like that. And you do have some good earworms on this. I still want some stacked vocals from you. I still want some real schmaltzy, I would say, even to lay into the cheese and give me some big chorus harmonies, 3-part harmonies by the end. You know, let's create some growth dynamically, and let the voice be sort of the guide towards that. You know, I think it would be, you have a great voice, and also again, like we talked about, like delivery, how you deliver your voice, and dynamically, like again, you could push it harder at the end. I still feel like you're holding back a little bit. I don't know if it's recording at home in New York City, but I said it last time, fuck them neighbors, you know? This is my time. This is Rotap's time. Push it. Yeah, give me some stacks on that. I love your chord progressions. I love your melody writing. I want more from you vocally. I want you to believe in yourself, and I want to hear many versions of you in stereo. A low to the left, a high to the right, and your lead melody in the middle, you know? Get to it. This is strong stuff, though. When are we going to hear it? You got a whole collection of songs in this vein. Where's the EP? Where's the product for the public? You gotta, where's the gigs? Where's the performance for this? That's another thing. You could press play on your instrumental rhythm section and play some live guitar and sing. I would be captivated by that with these types of songs. Rotap EP is coming, and with it, some gigs. Yeah? Yeah? Everybody, remember recording, performing. Two peas in a pod. Got to figure out how to perform it. Happy to help you. Get in touch. Get in touch. A lot of ideas. I'm familiar with you. I know you. Good shit. Good shit. Everybody encourage Rotap to perform. And then encourage yourself to perform. Everybody get their project over the finish line. Both IRL and URL. Let's go. Let's go. Good stuff. Gracias. Okay. Miss B is back. Once again. They have written to us. New demo I started right before having my wisdom teeth extracted that I've been sleepily working on the past few days after a few weeks off. Yeah, mixing off them perks. You got to get like Future, you know? You got to get in the lean zone, right? Still in the very early stages of composition work, so looking for less notes and more about mixing and more notes about structure and raw tonality. Kind of playing with the idea of this song as a triptych of sorts with an ABC section. Ah, yeah. Speaking of form, there we go. All right, so less notes about the mix, more notes about the structure and raw tonality. Composition. Okay, Pulling Teeth, aptly titled. Let's go. All right. Another fun one from Miss B. I'm enjoying our feedback from the chat here. Talking, bringing up one of the things that I'm constantly discussing. We talk about endings a lot and the difficulty of that, and sometimes we just talk about the need for a lead, and the difficulty in writing melody, but also arranging a lead part. And in this case, I've said it many times, but you've made a bed with no one to lay in it. You've created a foundation for something. You've created a foundation for a lead, but it's not there yet. Something that could bring us, could bring this all together. And I like some of these suggestions here. Rotap saying like a vocal sample that's just getting like pitched up and fucked up, chopped in different ways. What else? What other ideas for a lead? Probably gonna, okay, cool. So Miss B saying the vision for this one read my mind. Probably gonna set up my DJ mixer and hit vocals through it. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, this is like, I like the Electroclash pout sort of idea here. Some sort of punk pout sing song, or I'm sorry, like a shout singing occurring, something that could be not necessarily based in tonality. I'm not thinking necessarily a very melodic sound here. Been listening a lot to the band that actually does the theme song for the Critical Listening podcast, Eraser, based out of Philly. More on a no wave sound than a electronic sort of sound, and way less tonal. But their lead vocals is definitely on that pout. Talk to me, by and by, like it's like Devo. You know what I mean? That's what we could go for here. We could embrace our Mothersburg. That is this. You're already there instrumentally. One other thing, just thinking about the arrangement and the sound, the raw tonality, as you put it, I think that your bass needs some reshaping of the wave here, because it's very modulation heavy. It feels very ring modded or FM'd, where it's kind of wobbling in pitch, and we could hear in the highs how locked in the pitch the harmonic materials of the synthesizers are. But the bass is kind of this, like, I don't know, it doesn't sound, the clarity of pitch is not as clear compared to the high end parts. And I feel like you could switch that up, have like weirder, wobblier harmonic content in the high end synthesizer parts, and make sure that the synth, the bottom end, is more straightforward. Like we could have a more pure waveform, like some sort of combo of triangle or square, with some deeper, like more clear tonality to that, because we really should be here like doom 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 doom. There shouldn't be ambiguity as to which pitch is being played in the low end, because it's harder to detect by default. We perceive the bass in a quieter sort of way psychoacoustically compared to the high end, so we really need there to be like locked and loaded, like this is exact, like no ambiguity as to what pitch is being played and what the progression is, because the high end can vary, can wobble a bit. But as long as it's like, paired with a bass that's like set, you know exactly what pitches are being played, like, because the waveform is more straightforward, the synthesis behind the bass synth itself is not as modulating. I think you're going to have a more clear tonality. Because I don't think any of this is really meant to be dissonant. You know, sometimes there was this perceived dissonance, but I feel like that was just the wobbliness of the you know, sort of patch that you're using for the bass itself, and that just needs to be a bit more pure. You know what I mean? Besides that, I mean, like, I'm getting the form here. You know what I mean? Talking about the ABC. I think that is like that's coming through. You know, it's more the everything else we were talking about. I think once you also have a lead instrument, it's going to be tied in that much more. You know, I like this here. Breathplay saying, with the ABC thing, you've basically created an episodic thing like you'd often see in that era because Take Me Out was so influential. Yeah, no, it kind of does have a linear sort of form to it, which is quite nice, you know? Reminds me of the first Otto Benson album. Not familiar. Definitely need to hone in the bass. Was fucking with it right before bouncing. Yeah, I mean, let the stranger things, oh God, let the weirder parts happen as your harmonies, you know, let there be ambiguity and, you know, a little jankiness going on there, but I wouldn't have any room for questioning the key in the rhythm section, in the low end, you know. Nice save. Yes, exactly. Speaking of synthesizer music, that show did damage. That show did generational damage to synthesizer music. It's like, oh yeah, synthwave. Don't you like the Juno? Anyways, thank you, B. Looking forward to a new version from you on that. Good stuff. Okay. What do we got? We got Pazu. Pazu is back. Hey, by the way, Reverend Pazu, that's a reference to Pazu, the character from Laputa, Castle in the Sky, the Hayao Miyazaki movie. Let's give a shout out and an RIP to James Vanderbeek, the voice of Pazu in the American dub of Laputa, Castle in the Sky. RIP to the GOAT, Dawson, James Vanderbeek, teen heartthrob from when I was in elementary school. Horrible country we got where some famous actor leaves their family in medical debt after passing away from a incurable disease. Very sad story, and I'm not even a huge fan of Dawson's Creek or anything like that. That just hit me in particular with the story of his medical debt after he passed. Shout out to the OG American Pazu. Yes. And yes, thank you, Miss B, for that. This is you're right. This is early stages and everything is appreciated. Feels so good. It feels good to feel safe sharing such early stage works with this group. That's right. That's right. That's what we fucking do. Tell your friends. Group Critique Fight Club. Bra, 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 bra. Unironic safe space. If you are a dick, I am Stalin, and I will send you to the gulags. No pulling punches here. Thank you. All right, Pazu's back. What does Pazu have for us? Another one from the tape. This mix is on the loud side. Sounds fine in my headphones, which are relatively flat and massively forgiving in the high end. Everywhere else, it sounds just a tad loud as fuck and maybe a bit shrill. That's not the first time we've heard works like that from you, Pazu, but let's see. And it's a short one, so we'll play it twice.
But I've been breathing the ice, busting my ass in the block, just taking a walk, chasing the flakes in the sky. Copping the groove on Stewart, then I go slide in style. What is you doing? It's been a minute since you and I deuce, and I hope that you doing fine. I just been making my moves per usual. Think that I'm doing alright. What are the odds I lose? So now ain't that much resigned. That is the truth. Been in my blood since you. 2 feet bleeding to dry. Talking the mess in the booth is the only way I can dismantle the lies. Stories I tell, expressing both sides of myself. Kings and thieves compelled, and themes for people they really be keeping in cells. All of the struggles I felt was a product of sentences that I misspelled. All of the problems I met were the product of mountains I spotted as hells. Climbing up high as hell, oxygen thinner than stove in the melt. The water I cannot inhale, taking a sip of that poison and blowing it down like a whale. Ripping off top, just like a child I was trying to fix code when it fell. Y'all be rapping them 8 bars, I'll be spinning them stories of scale.
Running that back. Running that back. Running that back.
But I've been breathing the ice, busting my ass in the block, just taking a walk, chasing the flakes in the sky. Copping the groove on Stewart, then I go slide in style. What is you doing? It's been a minute since you and I deuce, and I hope that you doing fine. I just been making my moves per usual. Think that I'm doing alright. What are the odds I lose? So now ain't that much resigned. That is the truth. Been in my blood since you. 2 feet bleeding to dry. Talking the mess in the booth is the only way I can dismantle the lies. Stories I tell, expressing both sides of myself. Kings and thieves compelled, and themes for people they really be keeping in cells. All of the struggles I felt was a product of sentences that I misspelled. All of the problems I met were the product of mountains I spotted as hells. Climbing up high as hell, oxygen thinner than stove in the melt. The water I cannot inhale, taking a sip of that poison and blowing it down like a whale. Ripping off top, just like a child I was trying to fix code when it fell. Y'all be rapping them 8 bars, I'll be spinning them stories of scale.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, Breathplay. Yes, I did skip you. We're going back to you after this. My bad. What do we got? What do we got from Pazu? I feel like the Vox comes in like a brick wall. I might have smashed them too hard. See, this is the thing though, is that like just like we talked before, is you have this is punk rock. Like this is not meant to sound clean. This is dirt. Digital dirt. Not tape dirt, but digital dirt. And I don't want to like detract from that aesthetic at all. You know, what I do think we could find elements of this where the high ends are cutting a bit too punchy. I don't think it's the voice. I think it's that chopped 808 snare. You know, that white noise, that burst of voltage that's hitting us. I think that is like what to me is cutting through on my cans here, because the voice needs to come through as the loudest thing in the room, and I wouldn't want it to be clean. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to clean up your voice. I enjoy it dirty. I think that's part of your sound. I think that it's just the snare of your instrumental in particular is just like, you know, so just compress that shit. You know, that's something, a heavy use of compression ratio, limiter on that. Just bring it down 10 dB. It will come through. This is a great example of psychoacoustics where highs will be present no matter what. You can make that quite quieter on the drums, and it will still be coming through here. I think that's a simple fix for something that's really not meant to be clean. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying this collection, and I'm very much looking forward to this tape. Rotap said, bars sound good. I was hoping for some more melody, I guess. I mean, yeah, this is another think piece, another thinker as the instrumental. You know, you're making this noisy, deeply saturated digital dirt production here. But your instrumentals are wonderful on their own, and I'm sure would sound very nice, cleaned up, as just longer form instrumentals on their own. And in this case, I mean, like the chromaticism, it's very jazzy. You have the brass sample on that, but the chord progression too, just like as a two-parter. It's a very nice, sort of like use of modality, even in beat form and looping sequence. It's a short piece, If we were to add a melody here, I don't know, it's a little late because I know you basically finished the record, but like ending with like a lead trumpet, finding something to play us out with, as just like not asking for melodic vocals or anything like that, but like playing us out in the instrumental in a way that lays into the melody, might be a nice little bow to it. You wrote, I had a synth line in there and it might have been buried. Maybe bring that out at the end, expand on the, it's a classic way of just letting the instrumental play us out. You got a track that's like only a minute and 23 seconds, you could give us another 16 clicks, another 4 bars or something, another even 8 bars, and let this synth part that's buried kind of come to the surface, to be our sort of like melodic icing on the cake, melodic bow that ties it all together, something like that. Just a thought, because it is short, even for your songs, which tend to be on the shorter side. Like, I think we can challenge ourselves a little bit here as to like what the form should be, even a traditional hip hop sense of let it play out, not to be so abrupt. I think that's okay. And with an instrumental like this, to let a bit more chromaticism, a bit more modality sort of like take the reins and play us out, laying into the groove a bit, Saying I was trying to get a friend to do some vocals on this as well. Curious where that would happen. As again, like sort of like, ooh la la, like something harmonizing what you already got going on. Are you imagining a hook? Because that's also, you could write a hook and play us out melodically, like make this twice as long if you want, and have someone else sing out a chorus, like it could just be an A section and a B section, one long verse into one long hook, and then it kind of fades out from there. I don't know. Plenty of ideas on how you could expand upon this in duration, because we're so abrupt and it's so bare bones, just like we get just intro and then straight verse and we're done, You wrote, it would be like an R&B style looped and layered kind of thing, hook, intro, and outro. Sure, started out that way, not bad. Play with that. If you're open to it, if this isn't done for you, play with that. I would love an expansion of the form for this. I think that would definitely, elevate this for sure. Doesn't need to be vocals, but some sort of lead melody that kind of like has its moment for drops, whether it be beginning, middle, and end, or just the end, different options there. I do like the shortness, but I think that like there could be more as far as like parts and arrangement goes, like the form, things like that. Good shit, man. Good shit. From Pazu, R.I.P. James Vanderbeek. The OG American Pazu. All right. Now we're going back to Breathplay, because I rudely ignored them. Breathplay rock music, Coldplay versus Coldplay. They write an emulsion of original Ableton production, a Coldplay song on the CDJ, another Coldplay song as a MIDI transcription, a clip from the film Zardoz classic, and a loop of the old Kanye saying, "She need a daddy, baby please." I'm following a logic here that makes sense to me. I don't expect it to make sense to anyone else, but I want to be sure that people can sense there is a logic rather than perceiving it as random or unfocused. Please pardon the messy mix. I'm trying to dial it in the right balance of rhythmic muscle and emo dub blowout. Lovely written statement once again for Breathplay. All right. Rock music. Coldplay versus Coldplay by Breathplay. Let's go.
Would it have been worthwhile to have squeezed the universe into a ball, to roll it towards some overwhelming question, to say, I am Lazarus, come from the dead? Do you know the next line? It's T.S. Eliot. I am Lazarus, come from the dead. Come back to tell you all. I shall tell you all. Well done, well done. You've learned your lessons well. What will you
All right. I'm loving that we had all these descriptors here of elements involved in this piece. An actual Coldplay song being played back on CDJs. Another Coldplay song as just strictly MIDI transcribed. MIDI transcription of a Coldplay song. Clip from Zardoz and a loop of Kanye saying she needed daddy. And the only thing that's like abundantly clear coming through as far as like source materials is the Zardoz sample drops at the beginning and end. Everything else is once again in classic Breathplay fashion. True musique concrète being made here via the art of DJing and creating dubbed out dance music in Ableton. The obscuring of sample sources is very clever here, because although like there's very clearly like loops and samples involved where they come from, it doesn't have novelty to this. Like everything that you described here sounded novelty, but the music itself is pretty presentable on its own. Like you could have just played it and asked what we thought and then done the big reveal and we'd be like, oh wow, that I would not have guessed that those were the parts involved here. I think that it's a clever challenge for you as a producer and selector as to like like you said, you got a vision for it. I see the vision, and I feel like the vision for you is like cells, like little bits of these samples in your head make sense playing. Like this is the kick that I need. This is like the 2-click loop that I need. You're not thinking about sampling previously recorded music in like a macro scale as to like I want a whole melodic phrase necessarily, or if you do, you're obscuring it through various means of effects to the point at which we can't really recognize it. So I think it's a look into how your brain works as a listener and sample selector here, where you're getting granular, you're getting into the minutia of these sample sources in a way that most people wouldn't expect. And when you write it out on paper, people would probably expect something a bit more novelty in here. Like, I'm not hearing Coldplay, I also think it's funny of using a MIDI transcription of another Coldplay song here, because why the hell not? You wrote, there actually is a complete unbroken Coldplay song. See, I'm not getting it. And I think that's fine. I'm curious as to your thought process as to, what samples you chose from and what you decided to make a MIDI transcription of, and what instrument was being used by the MIDI source itself that was being generated here. Thinking about the MIDI transcription as another type of DJ deck. Interesting. So another sort of playback. But what was the instrument that the MIDI was generating on? Was it a keyboard? Was it some sort of piano sound? I'm curious about that. Something. The soaring feeling of pop music. I get it. What is the okay? It was the sine wavy pad that was in the delay. Okay, cool, interesting. See, these are all things that you did a good job obscuring, and that seems to be part of the point too. Is that like these are you gave us the clues, but really these are all references for you, and I think that's smart. I accept. Now, like, I think you would have to develop this a bit further. If you were to create a collection of these conceptual sort of concrete works, let in a bit more melody, perhaps. You're obscuring a bit of that too. I don't know. I feel like there would just be, again, like it would be cool to like reveal some lead melody in this, it felt very surreal and muffled in that way. Everything being filtered in a way where it's like there might be vocals peripherally somewhere deep submerged in this, but it never really fully reveals itself. Right. Yes, a long form work in this mode, some sort of mix. Yes. Curious how you'd expand upon this in a long form. But my thought is just to, give the people what they want at some point. Reveal the cheese. Reveal the cheese to us. We need our dairy. Give us some melody. Give us some schlock occasionally. Reveal that. I wonder if anyone has tried this. I don't know. It sounds a little familiar. Thank you, Breathplay. All right, playing us out. We got the homie Potvorrah. I don't know if they're awake right now. They gave us a track yesterday in the private stream and are back with a new version of it. Some silly little vocals, according to them, which was my critique and suggestion, was to get vocal with this. So with this home studio shoegaze track that they made at their friend's studio. Let's check it. Potvorrah Test Gaze. I'm playing it back. It was a short one. I'm playing it again. Oh, yes. Oh yes, we love our bedroom production, our bedroom pop auto tune on our pop punk shoegaze, contemporary shoegaze going on. Suggestion on the vocals: no delay, yes reverb. I feel that the repetitions of the ba 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 ba, I feel like that is oversaturating the rhythmic content of your voice, because I know that you're going for this casual, like blah, 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 like it's like the delivery isn't meant to be like tight quantized vocal delivery rhythmically here. It's quantized pitch, but not rhythmically. But when we have the time delay doubling, tripling what you had just sang, it creates this kind of like overly imperfect sort of rhythmic delivery of the vocals here. And I think that it's fine to obscure it in time-based effects, but I would rather it be like flooded in verb, like put us through a sort of like reampy spring verb rather than a digital delay. You know what I mean? Let the verb hold us down in sustaining us rather than a delay. Like create more of a wash and less of a sort of rhythmic repetition in that. And then stack your vocals. It would be perfect. It would be perfect for some when you come back in that final refrain, da 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 da, like give us some stuff on top, I think it would be much stronger with some 3-part harmonies on that. Great. Doesn't need to be much, some casual fuzzy vocals, some nice auto-tune harmonies, you can't go wrong. You said you're having fun with this track, not trying to challenge yourself compositionally here, just having fun, so again, lay into the cheese, give us the cheese. It's okay to be super melodic and harmonic with our lead vocals here. And with auto-tune, I mean, it's going to sound good. It's going to sound nice and consonant and crispy. Perfect quantized pitch. Sometimes that's fine. Here's one good example of it, giving us straight quonic with this one. Good shit. Let's hear more vocals, PV. Shout-outs to Potvorrah, coming in hot for our final track of the evening. And thank you all for playing some tracks this evening and playing out our final normal scheduled program for Mondays in February, because next week is our monthly project presentation with Raven Chacon. You know this. Get your projects done. You know how it is. Lovely stuff. Once again, our monthly collections looking very good up on the Tape Trade. I will post the public link for the streamable playlist in the show notes in just a little bit after we're done streaming. Thank you all for hanging with me this Monday evening. Hope you have a wonderful week, and remember to get those monthly projects in a week from today. Have a wonderful week. Be productive. Get exercise. Drink water. Eat well. Be right. Do right. Hope you all have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to another edition of Group Critique Fight Club with me, Max Alper, aka Parrotsky. You can sign up for the Patreon at patreon.com/Parrotsky to get access to our Sunday Zoom school on top of the regular live public stream. Public stream takes place every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. All are welcome. And you are listening to the track Atop Alp Dog Mountain, Ja Plays Pokemon Go by me.